Hello everyone, I'm cutting back in and I'll just plug this in somewhere, but pretty much I washed this car. My wife took it out and it used to be washed. Every time I wash it, I'll just go ahead and power wash the engine, and I'll do that real quick and I'll plug it in somewhere. Yeah, this is what I use, just a simple power washer. Let me cut in and cut out. Alright, I'm cutting back in and you can see I power washed it. It just keeps it clean. Did soap the top portion of this. It gets kind of dirty sometimes. Just keep it clean. Anyways, let me get the air compressor and dry it off. Blow some compressed air on it, and then it should be all nice and clean. Alright, all dried up or compressed air blown, and it looks really clean. Anyway, I'll cut out and plug this in somewhere else. Bye. Alright everyone, I'm cutting in, and this is one of the ways I'm spending my Memorial Day weekend out here. Going to the community resort pool here, or the main pool anyways. A little bucket for the kids. I'll probably be spending most of my time right here, and so this is kind of what I do on the weekends. And then in summer, hopefully they'll be open every day. So anyways, let me cut in and I'll cut out. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of, this particular episode is Bitcoin Special Report. I might have some cut-ins of other stuff and how I spent my my Memorial Day weekend. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about a few things, but first, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new treasure hunt. So I'll do that first. Second thing is I'll talk about this user-activated soft fork here. Let me see here. Yeah. So it's known as BIP148. And if you don't know or you haven't heard, I'm going to talk about it because I think it is worth talking about, and I'll talk about my views on it. And last thing I'm going to talk about is I've got a Litecoin wallet finally. I finally got me a Litecoin wallet, and so I'll show you the donation page for Litecoin if anybody wants to send me Litecoin. So I'll go over that last. So first things first, let's do the treasure hunt first. And let me see here. Alright, so this treasure hunt is going to be about Chris DeRose. He runs a channel called Bitcoin Uncensored. I've been watching Chris since he was pumping his counterparty stuff. Very boring in the beginning, and then he eventually got into interviewing. I remember he interviewed Michael Espinoza, one of the person who was arrested, and then finally the charges were dropped. He was a Bitcoin trader. He traded on local Bitcoins. I keep track of that because that's what I do, and I've traded in Florida as well. And so I've actually gone to Florida and traded in Florida. So I've also traded in New York, right? I'll trade anywhere, and just to let you know, you can trade your Bitcoin anywhere, all over the world. All right, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You don't need a license to buy and sell Bitcoin. All right, and so I'm going to go over the treasure hunt on that. So let's see here. He has his own website. Oh, excuse me. Let me see here. Just checking out his page. So he has his own website, chrisderose.com. Very fun to look at. He also has a Twitter page. So some of the things I'm going to be talking about basically encompasses watching his videos, going on to his website, and Twitter page. So all the clues are somewhere in there. So if you check it out, and ultimately, you know, if you don't know, I think you can communicate with Chris DeRose directly and just ask him if you want to. So anyway, so let's go for the first treasure hunt here. Alright, so here is the QR code. Now I haven't loaded it, but I'm going to load it. So this is, well, let me make sure that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Alright, so here is the QR code for the treasure hunt, people. Go ahead and scan that, and it'll ask you for a passcode. So if you can crack the rest of the passcode, that's awesome. So first episode, I'm not going to give you any clue. Well, no, I'll go ahead and give you the first clue, but let me go ahead and load it. So here is the wallet, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll just load it up, okay? So let me cut in and cut out real quick. Alright, I'm cutting back in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to load $25 worth of Bitcoin onto this wallet from the treasure hunt wallet, which is this wallet right here. Alright, let me refresh that. Will it refresh? There we go. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and so I already put in the passcode and everything, and there it is. That's the right address, which I'm going to spend from. I'm going to send, and then this is my Cilium wallet, and I'm just simply going to just scan the QR code in which I'm going to be sending to. And so let's change the page here. So this is the empty wallet, and so here it is. I'm just going to go ahead and scan. There it is. And yeah, that is the correct QR code. Alright, so that's the correct QR code. So I'm going to enter an amount, and I'm going to change that to US dollars. Just put 25. Okay. Okay, that's correct. So let's see what the fees are today. Normal is $1.60. I'm going to have one input, two outputs, so that's probably the minimal amount, and that's 226 bytes. So priority is $1.79. Low priority $1.21. Okay, so I'm probably going to go low priority. And let me see that. Yeah, that's correct. I've already tested the wallet, so it should work. Yeah, okay. Send. There you go. Okay. And so here we go. I'm going to refresh this. And yeah, there it is. $25. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the $25 until I give you the last clue, which I'll take out most of it except maybe $2 to $3. Well, the fees are getting high. I may have to bump it up to like $3.50 or $4, because if you take the fees out, it gets pretty ridiculous. And then let's check on this one. Yep, it's taken out the fees here. Okay, excellent. So, alright, so we've got that done. So in this particular episode here, the clue is, okay, so if you know anything about Chris DeRose, if you've been watching him, if you haven't been watching him, he used to have a very good close friend on his show that they would both together do the interview, right? But recently something happened where they're not together anymore, all right? And I could tell that really has hurt his feelings. Matter of fact, if you go through some of the recent episodes where he talks about it, you could tell he's, well, I could tell, you know, because I enjoy reading people. You could tell he's very, very hurt. Very hurt. I mean, he has to stick out his chest and kind of look down in internal dialogue. But anyways, so what was his friend's name on the show? What name did he go by? His internet name, I guess, is what you would call him, his YouTube name. So that, and it's proper noun, so you want to, you know, uppercase the first letter. So if you can figure that out, that is the first clue for this treasure hunt. and most likely you'll get that out of the videos. But again, the treasure hunt is all the information you need to know is on his website, chrisderose.com. His Twitter page at what is it? At DeRose Tech. At DeRose Tech. Let me see here. At DeRose Tech. So those are the places where you're going to get the clues to the passcode, the answers pretty much. So go ahead and go treasure hunting. I know Brian McLaughlin will enjoy this one. It's getting harder and harder. I'm adding more things to it, random things and names and all sorts of stuff. So enjoy. So that's the treasure hunt. So now that I've gone over with that, let's get back to this. All right. So if anybody knows what a user activated soft fork is, a UASF, it's been talked about it for quite some time. And so I'm going to just go ahead and read some of this, and just to give you an idea. So this is from Luke Das Jr. This is a Medium post. Okay. And I got this, which is going to lead me eventually to my next segment here of, okay. Anyways, I have to go watch through this commercial. Well, while the commercial is going, Ozzy the BS Filter did a live stream to give away some Litecoin. And that's basically, that's why I made a Litecoin wallet. He was nice enough, he gave 3 Litecoins away. Alright. And not only that, but he also gave every participant some Litecoin as well, which is very generous of him. But basically, where is it? Where is it? So here it is. Richie Rich put a link up on the for this Medium post right here. So that's where I got this link from. So thank you, Richie Rich. So I'll go ahead and read. All right. BIP148 and the risk it entails for you, whether you run a BIP148 node or not. So BIP148 is happening beginning on August 1st, 2017. But what does that mean for the average user? That's a good question. What does it mean for the average user? Okay. So here, for the purposes of reading clarity, legacy means node not enforcing BIP148. All right, so I'll just read this and I'll give you my take on this, okay? Risk for both legacy and BIP148 nodes and wallets trusting them. If and only if BIP148 has minority hash rate support, there will be a chain split, okay? Whether your node supports BIP148 or not, there is a risk that your economic counterparties, i.e. people you want to pay and people you want to pay you, will be on the other side of the split. So this is talking about specifically after the split, okay? Before the split, there's no risk because the coins will be spent on probably both chains or something, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So long as nobody double spends, this should be mostly okay for 100 blocks, about 16 hours. So they're talking about a split specifically. So only if BIP148 becomes the minority hash rate will you see a split. All right. All right. So let me see here. The only difference. Okay. So long as nobody double spends, this should be mostly okay for 100 blocks, about 16 hours. The only difference will be the transactions might confirm at different times. But if 100 blocks pass and miners begin spending their newly minted bitcoins, different on each side of the split. So after it splits, the miners who are on the legacy and the miners who are on the BIP148, they'll start receiving rewards, right, for confirming blocks. So this is where the risk is, okay? It says here, different on each side of the split, the chain's balance will begin to diverge and transactions will become tied to one side or the other. So depending on the miners, on which side of the split they're going to mine on, and basically the blocks are going to be confirmed, and then you'll get newly minted Bitcoins. It's going to stay on that side of the split, all right? And this is where the fork is, all right? This is the split. So if the risk only for BIP148 nodes, there are none. There are none. I'm not sure if, well, I'll get to that a little bit later. Here's the thing. The nodes are what confirms and validates the transactions. The miners mine and add it to the block. But without the nodes, right, without the nodes, hold on, let me mute this here. Here's, okay. So without the nodes, essentially none of this is going to be confirmed, right? It'll just stay unconfirmed. So let's just go on that, okay? So that's a risk only for BIP148 nodes because it's apparently backwards compatible as well. Let me see here. So I'm just going to read the first part of this. I want you to read the rest of this, okay? You know, you guys have to know what it is. Risk only for legacy nodes. If the chain splits, then when and if every time the BIP148 chain gets longer, it will replace the legacy chain. Transactions that had confirmed on the legacy chain will become unconfirmed unless they are also confirmed on the BIP148 chain. Because the way Bitcoin works is you have the miners who mine and add to the blockchain, but the nodes confirm that transaction is valid. Otherwise, it will not be considered valid. So that's what the whole thing is. Bitcoins mined by legacy miners will cease to exist as they lose their blocks. This cannot occur in the inverse direction, no matter how long the legacy chain gets. BIP148 nodes will never let it reorg out the BIP148 chain. So what he's saying is the legacy chain, the old chain, no matter how long it gets, even though after the split, running the node, a BIP148 node, will never reorganize, so it will never go back after the split. So that's what he's talking about when he has the little you know, smiley face. There are none. There is no risk if you run this node. Okay, because most likely the transactions that happen on the nodes, or the transactions that happen after the split, will be done on both chains. The only difference is depending on how much the miners really want to battle this out, they'll get confirmed on both or one or the other, but specifically, I guess for sure, on the nodes that run 148, the BIP148 node. So now that's all I'm going to get into, because I want you to read and judge for yourself. I'll tell you my take on it. Okay, and here's another one by Eric Lombroso, and this is a SegWit plus user activated soft fork equals Bitcoin, love of Bitcoin, I guess. And this is just his more opinion of why he supports BIP148, Bitcoin Improvement Protocol 148. So I'm not really a techie, but if I know how to read, and if you can write well enough for me to read and understand, I think I can get it. So here's another one you can read. Eric Lombroso. This is also another Medium post. I'm sure you can just Google it and find it. Do your research, people. Go to Reddit, do a Google search, BIP148, and so now let me just give you my take on this whole thing. All right. So this has been a long time coming here. This is a battle, and here's how I see things. Okay, when it first came out, when I first got involved in this whole quote-unquote scaling debate, there really is no scaling debate. This is about control over the network. This is a battle and a fight to see who will control the Bitcoin network. Will it be the miners or will it be the users? Now, the users in this case are people who operate nodes, and nodes basically validate and confirm what miners have done. Okay. Now, running this BIP148 will only validate segregated witness compatible transactions. And so this is what the nodes are doing. They're ignoring anything that's not SegWit compatible. And in doing so, any miner who mines blocks on for any non-segregated witness transactions or compatible, I wouldn't say transaction or blocks, but non-segregated witness software, I guess I would call it, not doing the upgrade or for SegWit, they can still mine, I'm assuming, but they will not be recognized. So the miners would have to upgrade their software that is SegWit compatible. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to use SegWit. They just have to have the software that has the upgrade with the soft fork of segregated witness. So that's how I understand things. And here's the thing about running a node is when they say user activated soft fork, it doesn't mean me or you or every individual decides to, there's no way to vote, all right? I don't have a node, okay? I just have a wallet, and I have a paper wallet, and I may use some exchanges, and that's about it. I don't have a node, although people can run a node. Now, typically, people who run nodes are basically miners. All miners run nodes. I think that's a given. Exchanges typically run nodes. They want their own node so their transaction can be validated, so they know it's been done. Wallets typically run their own nodes because they want to validate their own transactions, so they know that it's been validated. People can run a node, like regular people like you and me can run nodes, and those people usually do that just to support the network. Businesses that accept Bitcoin typically also run their own nodes, so that's where the user activated soft fork comes in. It doesn't mean because I use Bitcoin I'm going to activate, BIP148. That's not what happens. So how does that relate to people who don't run nodes and people who do? Well, here's the concept is basically if the transactions never get validated and never confirmed, they reorganize. In other words, they have to drop. That chain drops and reorganizes to the other chain. So basically, all the work that the miners have done have all become invalid. In other words, the Bitcoins that they've got for mining blocks disappear, gone. And that's the point of this. And that's the point of this, is you're taking money away from the miners for the most part, the ones that don't have an updated software with segregated witness. And so ideally you would think miners would jump on the chain that's going to allow them to keep their Bitcoins, right? And that would be the user activated soft fork of BIP148 that has segregated witness activated. So this is where this is the whole point of this. And so here's my take on it. All right, earlier in the year, I would say the Bitcoin community had a little fight. The first bout, I would say. Bitmain, Jihan Wu, Roger Ver, and Peter Ruins are coming out and saying they're going to hard fork Bitcoin. They have the hashing power to do this. Matter of fact, they said they were going to do this. And I made many videos about it. Let me see if I can find those videos here. Okay, so where's my video? Okay, right there. Alright, so where are those videos? Let me see here. I made many videos, like all these weird, my audio stereogram videos. That's what they were all about. This one right here, a Bitcoin prediction 52. I made one for where I asked for the community to come together, miners and well, the miners just activate segregated witness, okay? And I only asked once, and I'm never going to ask again. This one right here, and then what was the other one? Oh yeah, this one in particular. Let me see, Bitcoin prediction 50, an interview with Roger Ver about scaling Bitcoin. This is where Thomas Hunt did an interview. The part 1, I did a reading on Roger Ver. The guy is lying. He's lying. Something's going on. So, anyways, here's the thing. They said they would hard fork. They never hard forked. That was a big mistake. The big mistake was making the threat of hard forking to scare people. And also at the same time, Vinny Lingham he came out saying how the price has to go down, and all this shenanigans. This is nonsense, utter nonsense. And the price of Bitcoin did go down, went down to the 900s, but then came right back. People were not afraid. They actually stepped it up and started buying more Bitcoin, because the chance of a hard fork, you would get 2 Bitcoins, and then you would be able to sell. You would dump the coins you didn't want, and then transfer that money to the coins and get more Bitcoins that you did want. And I could tell that by what happened, the hard fork never happened, because right here, let me just show this real quick. Because if you look at the futures of Bitcoin, look at this. It's 1800 for this right here. This is Bitcoin Core, right? If a hard fork did happen, Bitcoin Core would have this value, and then Bitcoin Unlimited BCU would have this value. And at these prices, miners who are mining, Bitcoin Unlimited would lose their shirts. And this is how the price still is. Look at that. It's actually gotten wider since the price has gone up. So after that, I mean, no one. Jian Wu and Roger Ver and Peter Ruins are the laughing stock of this community. And I've typed this out on chat that if they don't hard fork, they will become the laughing stock of this community. Now that we know that their threats are empty, they have no plans of hard forking, they revealed their hand, they're screwed. They are literally screwed. And so this BIP148 is a push. It's everyone's playing chicken. But now that we know who the chicken really is, right? We're gonna just keep going to the cliff. We know someone who's gonna eventually back out. And so this is a way to drive everyone off the cliff, to see who's gonna really do this. And I do think that Jihan Wu and Roger Ver and Peter Ruins Bitcoin, they're all gonna back out. They have to, or they're gonna be out of this game forever. They're gonna lose everything. They're gonna lose everything. This is a way to force their hand to make them look stupid. Basically, they have to. They have to be stupid. They have to be made stupid. So that's my take on it. As far as the risk involved, here's some of the things that miners can do. If they're making that much money off of ASIC boost, and that's the reason why they're delaying SegWit, they could potentially spend that money and get as many nodes as they can to continue on their own chain. They can validate their own transactions. So it's possible you can see a split and it never reorganizes. But here's the catch. Miners need to sell their Bitcoins. They're not going to sell it to themselves, because if they're running their own nodes and validating their own transactions, who are they transacting with? They're basically transacting with themselves. They're not transacting with the rest of the network, which is the economic majority. So even if they got a whole bunch of nodes and continued on to validate their own transactions, what transactions are they validating? They're validating their own transactions. So either they're going to be closed off into an island where they're just going to pay themselves, or it'll become what I think would become a China coin. So they could exclude themselves to become an island, and they'll be making Bitcoin China coins, and the rest of the world will be making real Bitcoins. They'll be transacting with real Bitcoins. And so when they try to take their coins out of China, well, it's no good. And that defeats the purpose, because a lot of, I believe, Chinese are using Bitcoin to subvert capital controls. Unless they want to make their own economy and all that, but I think that's foolish, because they're going to be missing out. They're going to be losing out a lot of money. The money does not come from China, people. The money comes from the rest of the world. Okay? So that's my take. All right. And so this leads me to... nope. Is it this one? Okay. So, all right. So Ozzy the BS filter, he did as he said he would. He gave out 3 Bitcoins. And if you were in the chat, if you missed it, sorry, but we all decided, there was, I think, 8 of us, but we all decided 3 should be given out. It shouldn't be split amongst everybody. So we did that, and we had fun, and 3 people did win. Everyone didn't, the rest of us didn't, the other 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, the other 5 didn't win. But Ozzy was nice enough, all right, if you stayed all the way to the end of the live stream, he was nice enough to give everybody else 0.5 Bitcoin. So let me show you what he did. I made a paper wallet, and let me refresh it. Here's that's the okay, so that's the transaction right there, date and time. So he kept his word. He gave everyone 0.5 Bitcoin. There is that's 0.5. That's my address. I finally have a Litecoin. I finally have a Litecoin wallet. So I will be accepting donations in Litecoin now. And if you want to send some Litecoin, there you go. And I'm happy Ozzy sent me this Litecoin. I'm eagerly awaiting segregated witness to be activated on Bitcoin. And finally, I can do the atomic cross-chain transaction, where I can trade Litecoin for Bitcoin and Bitcoin for Litecoin without an exchange, without using, sorry, I had a phone call come in, but without using any exchange, Shapeshift, Change Jelly, anyway. This is going to become a decentralized exchange, and not only with Litecoin, but any other blockchain that has segregated, well, not any other, but has Lightning Network. Segregated witness will allow Lightning Network to be possible or more easier to do. It's the transaction malleability that's holding everything back. So please donate some Litecoin if you want to, and I appreciate it. And I'll show you the rest of my donations now. What I have here. This is my Bitcoin donation page. And so there's my Bitcoin here. So please donate some Bitcoin if you have a chance to. And then I still have some Dash. I haven't moved my Dash at all. So, oh, there it is. So if you feel generous enough to donate some Dash. So I got some Litecoin here. And of course I have Monero. And of course Monero is a little different. So here's the QR code for Monero. If you have any Monero, please donate. I would appreciate that. So anyways, this concludes this episode. And again, let's go back to the treasure hunt. Here you go. Please watch Chris DeRose. I mean, I've learned quite a bit from watching his channel. At first, I always thought that he was picking on people, but in reality, I think he exposed a lot of the BS. And if you're in this space and you want to avoid some of the BS, I highly recommend watching Chris DeRose. I know he has an Exotica that you have to pay, but I'm too cheap to pay, but I'll take anything he provides for video for the purposes of learning. And There you go. So let me show you the QR code for the treasure hunt one more time. And there you go. So this concludes this episode, so feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.